Okay, so everyone has a block. If you don't have a yoga block, it's okay. I can offer a couple modifications without a block. And we're gonna start in child's pose today. So sitting back onto the heels, folding forward, allowing the torso to drape over your thighs, maybe taking a wide leg child's pose today, and then arms reaching out in front of you, forehead reaches down toward the earth. And if the forehead doesn't rest on the mat, maybe stacking palms or even fists and allowing fists to support you in this pose. And we're just going to take a couple moments to become present and mindful and aware of where our bodies are this morning. And let's just start with a cleansing breath. So releasing any air that's currently in the lungs. And then to deep inhale, fill up the lungs to the top. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. And then let's do a little scan of the body, just looking to see how we're feeling this morning. It's early, we're just getting up, getting moving. So maybe starting today with the points of contact that are being made with the earth. So maybe it's the palm of the hands, your forearms, the forehead, the shins, your feet. Noticing if you can sink a little bit deeper into the earth in those points of contact. And then scanning the body for any tension or any tightness. Maybe your tissues are holding on to something, and just noticing where those points are in the body. And if you can soften any of that tightness, if you can let go and ask that tension or clinging to let go, just see what happens. And if it doesn't, that's okay. No judgment. We're just observing, noticing how the body's feeling today, and to help us guide what we need in our practice this morning. So I have a really fun class planned around core and this idea of using slow, strong strength from our center to guide our movements. So I want to bring your attention to your torso, that section of the body. So maybe from the low ribs down to the top of the pubic bone. And maybe just sending some breath there. So letting the belly fill up with air and press down between the legs. We're also going to really get into the side bodies today. So with the arms reached out in front of you, maybe see if you could walk the fingertips just a little further out and noticing the sensation, the openness in the sides, in your left and in your right side body. And then walk the fingertips back. And we're going to set up our Ujjayi Pranayama, our victorious breath, to guide our practice today. So finding a slight constriction in the back of the throat with the mouth closed. Start to breathe in and out through the nose. And then create a whisper sound in the back of the throat. So it sounds kind of like an ocean, or maybe I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, a Darth Vader type of whisper breathing. And then setting up a pattern of breath that you can maintain for the duration of class. So maybe that pattern is a 3-count inhale and a 5-count exhale, Or maybe it's an equal part breath, equal part inhale, equal part exhale. And it doesn't have to be technical, just finding something, a rhythm, a pattern that is easy for you to maintain for the duration of class to help tether the mind to the body so that when things become challenging, when the heart begins to race and the mind begins to wander, we can use this breath to tether us back into this moment, to draw the mind back into this moment and calm the heart and steady the body. And we'll also use the breath when our practice is a little bit more passive and the mind wants to wander, using the breath again to keep us tethered here, to keep us connected with the physical sensations in the body. And so with that breath set up now, we're going to slide all the way forward onto our bellies. Coming into half frog. So let's stack palms, allow the forehead to rest on the palms, or you can stack forearms if that feels better. And then on an inhale, you're going to draw the right knee up toward the right elbow. And so keeping that right hip bone anchored down, and see if you can draw the left hip bone down too. So keeping both hip bones in line with each other. Your hip points. So these 2 points on the hips here, and see if you can draw that left hip point down toward the mat. And it might not touch because of the way that the leg is lifted. But just opening up that hip here. And I said left hip point, but I meant right. So we're drawing that right hip point down to be even with the left. And allow the right foot to come back down to meet the left, and then switch sides, drawing the left knee up toward left elbow. And again, finding that same effort and energy, trying to allow the right hip to press into the mat, and then I'll try and draw that left hip point down toward the earth. Really open up the inside of that left leg and that hip. Allow the left foot to come back down to meet the right. We're going to push ourselves all the way up to tabletop. Coming onto all fours. We're going to stack hands, shoulders over wrists. Hands are about shoulder distance apart. And then knees are stacked below hips, about hip distance apart. And then toes can be tucked or untucked here, just kind of a personal preference. Having them tucked kind of offers a little extra balance. And then we're going to do some scapula push-ups this morning, or some scapula movement. So finding some movement in our shoulders. So on an inhale, you're going to draw the shoulder blades down the back. So the shoulder blades are our scapula muscle, and we're drawing them down, we're sliding them down the back. So from this position, and that might not be a very big movement, but that's all you're moving is the shoulder. And so let's hold that here for a couple rounds of breath. Sliding those shoulder blades. Draw the navel up and in toward the spine. So already starting to tap into our core here. We want a strong tabletop. And then come back to neutral. Allow the shoulders to stack over wrists again. And then we're going to draw the shoulder blades all the way up. So you're hiking your shoulders up toward your earlobes. But stay lifted out of the shoulders. So we're not sinking, we're not dumping in, we're still lifted out of the armpit, creating some space in that armpit there, and then drawing the shoulders up toward the earlobe. So feeling those shoulder blades slide up the back this time. And then come back to neutral. And then now we'll sink the shoulders in, sink into our shoulders, sink into the chest. And so drawing the shoulder blades together. So like you're pinching your shoulder blades together. See if you can squeeze like you were trying to press and connect your two shoulder blades onto the back. And then come back to neutral. Again, keeping a strong active core here. And then we're gonna lift all the way out of the shoulders. So spreading the shoulder blades apart, almost like cat pose, but we're not rounding the spine. We're just lifting out of those shoulders. Perfect. And then we're gonna, and then come back to center, and we're gonna create some circular movements with that. So sliding the shoulder blades down, lifting up, sliding the shoulder blades forward, sinking down. Slide the shoulder blades down, lifting up, slide the shoulder blades forward, sinking down. So kind of creating this circular movement. And this might feel uncomfortable, unfamiliar, especially if you've never done these before. So just find some movement. What we're trying to do is creating some movement in our shoulder blades, creating a greater range of motion and warming up the shoulders this morning. And then let's switch directions. So finding neutral, sliding the shoulder blades up, sinking down, sliding the shoulder blades down, lifting up. And if you're moving your shoulder blades and not in the same direction that I'm going, you're still doing it right, don't worry. All right, let's go ahead and pause. Sit back on the heels, coming into this hero's pose. And let's stretch out the wrists. We're gonna be doing a lot on the hands and on the wrists and tabletop today. So let's go ahead and take our hands and allow the fingertips to resting the palms in front of the knees, fingertips pointing toward your knees. And so you might come forward, and this is a deep enough stretch, or you can start to sink your hips back very gently, coming into a little deeper stretch. Breathing in here. Sending the breath into the wrists. Hopefully this feels nice. All right, and then shifting back, coming into tabletop once again. And we're gonna take spinal balance from here. So let's tap into that core, draw the navel up and in toward the spine. Long, straight spine. Head is an extension of the spine, reaching out energetically out through the crown of the head toward the top of your mat. And then on your inhale, reach your right heel back, landing on the ball of the right foot. And then just checking in with those hips. So making sure that both hip points are aligned and that both are facing down toward the bottom of the mat. And so this really does require some activation and strength in the core. Take an inhale. And so option, you can stay here or exhale and lift that right heel to the sky. But again, we want those hip points to be even. So if you're kicking up and open with that right hip, see if you can draw it back down toward midline. Breathe. And then if you'd like to challenge your balance a little bit more, maybe getting light onto the left fingertips or reaching the left arm out in front of you. So that that left arm, excuse me, is coming straight out from that shoulder socket, like you're gonna shake someone's hand with your left hand, which would be weird. I don't know, has anyone ever done that to you before? I've had that happen to me before, where someone tried to shake my hand with the left hand. It's like, oh, this is different. So we're left hand shakers this morning. So really stay strong and active in that back leg. Feel a line of energy coming out from your left shoulder, out through your fingertips, and then from your right hip all the way out your right heel. Feel a long line of energy. So almost like your body's being split in half here. Take an inhale, option to hold, or if you'd like to take these knee to elbow taps,
and get a little crunch. So we're gonna get a little inner body crunch, a little warm up for our core here. So inhales take you long, exhales, bring it to center. And see if you can use the length of your breath to guide the length of the movement. So the full exhale will take you into the full expression of this knee to shoulder, knee to elbow tap. And then the full length of the inhale will take you to the full expression of this spinal balance. Go ahead and release everything down. Allow the left hand to meet the right. And then let's switch sides. So drawing the navel into the spine, reactivating that. Inhale, allow the left leg to come back behind you, resting onto the ball of that left foot, checking in with our hips, making sure that hips are aligned. If you'd like to challenge that balance on your exhale, lift that left heel to the sky. Again, checking in, making sure that that left hip point is in line with the right. We're not opening up. And if you'd like to challenge the balance again, getting lighter on the ball onto the right fingertips. And then maybe reaching out. Now we can be right hand shakers. I don't know, I feel like that's like a name of a band. We're the right hand shakers or the left hand shakers. And so again, try and find that line of energy. So really activating that right shoulder, sending out energy out through the right fingertips, flexing that left foot, finding a long line of energy from that left hip all the way out through the left heel. And then an option to take those knee to elbow taps. So on your exhale, knee to elbow, inhale, take it back out long. And stay lifted out of that left shoulder. Let's not dump into that left shoulder. So really nothing is moving except for these two limbs that are coming together, which sounds really easy. I know you're not moving anything else, but that's the idea. That's the amount of control that we want to have in our core. This is all strength of core movement. Breathe. Pause, right arm, left leg out. Exhale, release the right hand down to meet the left. Left knee comes down to meet the right. Sink the hips all the way back, coming into child's pose. And just as a reminder, this is your resting pose. This is I call it your wisdom pose. So if at any time during your practice you need a pause, a break, you need to reset, you're out of breath, or something comes up for you during your practice, this is your pose to come to when you need to pause. Only you know when you need this pose. When you're ready, press into your hands, lift the arms off the mat, pressing into all 10 fingers, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, coming into our first downward facing dog. Let's pedal out the feet, wiggle the legs, straighten and bend one leg and then the other. If you have some down dog ritual that you like to take, since this is our first down dog, or most likely your first down dog of the day, but definitely of our practice, if there's any ritual that you like to take, go ahead and do that. Maybe shifting hips from side to side. Maybe rolling from plank to down dog. We're just waking up the body, waking up our joints a little, getting some of that blood circulating, flowing into our muscles. And then find some stillness, and let's just check in with our alignment. So hands are shoulder width apart, index finger pointing toward the top of the mat. We're pressing into all 10 fingers and lifting out of the armpits. So find some space in those armpits, like maybe there was a big rock that was placed in your armpit, and we're lifting out of the armpits, rolling the triceps underneath the arms. Hips are reaching toward the sky. Draw the navel up and in toward the spine. And then there's a slight bend in the knees, or maybe a deep bend in the knees, depends on what your body needs and what the backside of the body feels like here. And then finding about hips distance space between your feet. So it's about 1.5 feet of distance between your two big toes. Heels are reaching down toward the earth. No bonus points if they touch. All right. Bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky again. Maybe cactus the arms and pull the heart forward. And then exhale, coming into a forward fold. Slight bend in the knees, hinging forward at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Release the knees to the earth. We're coming back into our tabletop. Grab your block. I don't know if you guys are gonna love or hate the block after today's class. All right, so just place the block on the highest setting in front of your left hand. Okay, and then from our tabletop, again, hands are placed, shoulders are stacked over wrists here. And then tucking the toes in our tabletop, we're gonna hover our knees. So the knees come off, I don't know, an inch or two off of the mat. So notice and find some balance here. Really activate the core, the spine, and imagine a long, tall spine. So if this is a challenge and you wanna stay here, stay here. Or if you'd like to challenge the balance a little bit more, we're gonna shift your weight into the right hand without moving as little as possible the rest of the body, and then placing the block onto the low back, balancing, and then grabbing the block with the right hand and placing it down in front of where you'll be resting your right hand. And then switching sides, grabbing the block with the right hand, placing it on the low back. Really draw the navel in. I know your legs are starting to burn, your shoulders are starting to burn. So if at any time you want to pause, or maybe you just want to take traditional tabletop and hold your tabletop, there's still work and activation done in the core. We're going to do this for a few more rounds. Breathing, letting your breath guide the movement, even though it's weird and choppy and hard. We'll say the next time that the block is on the left-hand side, we'll pause. Oh my gosh, my quads, you guys. Okay, from your tabletop, release the knees to the earth, sink the hips back, child's pose. Send the breath into your abdomen, send your breath into your quads, the top part of your thighs. On your inhale, shift forward, come back to all fours, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. I forgot to mention, I'm not going to be cueing any vinyasas in this class because we're doing so much core and so much with shoulders. But if at any point you want to take a vinyasa, you want to do an up dog or cobra pose, by all means, you're welcome to do that. Bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat, meeting in forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky, cactus the arms, reach the heart forward, press the hips forward. Exhale, forward fold, release forward, bending the knees, hinging forward at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing from high plank. If that doesn't sound like fun to you and you wanna come back down to that hovering tabletop, you can take the hovering tabletop, or you can even do a modified plank. It probably would be a little bit harder with knees on the earth. You could probably do that too. So from high plank pose, again, connecting with the core, connecting with the strength of this pose. Legs are strong, lifted, and activated. Taking that block, allowing it to rest on the low back, shifting weight into that left hand, grabbing it with the right, placing it in front of the right hand. And we'll do this for a couple rounds. This is fun, right? I love it. For those of you who don't know, plank, number one, any kind of plank is my favorite. Low plank, high plank, side plank, all the planks. And I love core, which is why I made this class, because it's mostly all core today. Yay! I know, okay, I'll stop talking. We'll say the next time the block is in front of the left fingertips, we will pause, shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Let's take this cleansing breath together. Deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Beautiful. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky, cactus the arms, lift the heart forward. Press the hips forward. Exhale, coming into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins. Exhale, step back, high plank pose. And we're coming into forearm plank from here. This is another fun one. I hope you guys like. Shoulders are stacked over wrists here, and stay strong and active in those legs. And we're actually going to walk the feet in just a little, maybe an inch or two, or maybe you don't have to walk them in at all. You'll kind of adjust your posture if you need to. So option, you can stay here and hold your forearm plank. You can even come down onto the knees and hold your forearm plank. If you're going to take this next variation, it's a forearm bear variation. You're going to take this, you won't be able to do it with the knees lifted resting on the earth. So on an inhale, take an inhale, and then on your exhale, shifting the hips back and then hovering the knees off of the earth. So, and then looking forward between your fingertips, between your thumbs. So this is forearm bear pose. And then inhale, shift all the way forward, kind of into this little forearm mini push-up. And then exhale, shifting back, bear pose. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, shift back. So using the length of your breath to guide the movement, slow, controlled movements. We're not rushing. We're enjoying our hard work that we're putting into our body this morning. Guys, you're doing great. I know it. I can feel your energy. I can't see you because I'm so focused on my own suffering here, but I can feel your energy. Okay, let's pause, coming back into that forearm plank. Come up to high plank, pressing your hands into the mat, shifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Woo! All right, I got one more fun one for you guys. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky. Cactus the arms open, or maybe even find a hand clasp in the back and allow those shoulder blades again to slide down the back here, reaching the heart forward. Let's breathe here for a couple moments. Exhale, let that go. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, slight bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. I hope you guys like this one too. So let's go ahead and come into tabletop. Come down to right forearm comes down onto the mat, and the left hand will stay planted. And then we're gonna take an inhale, reach the left foot back, and then open up the hip here. Take another inhale. And then on your exhale, you're going to make a big sweeping motion, left knee to left tricep, as high up on the shoulder as you can get it. And then reach back, keeping that left leg now lifted. Flex the feet, reaching out through the heel. And then see if you can use the strength of the side body. So it's like a side body, a left side body crunch, left knee to left shoulder or tricep, as high up on the arm as you can go. Stay lifted out of that right shoulder. All right, Let's do this for some time, shall we? Yeah. Get that crunch. I really want, feel the crunch in the side body. So maybe it doesn't even have to touch elbow to knee to shoulder or knee to shoulder, but find that side body crunch. That's what I want you to find. I want you to find that side body engagement. I want you to cramp up so hard in that side body because you're crunching so hard. I know. Is this even yoga, Lisa? It's yoga. We're breathing. Using the length of the breath to guide the length of your movement. We'll say one more time, crunch it in. And guess what, guys? I have good news for you. Release your knee down to the earth. The good news is we switch sides. So allow the left forearm to come down onto the earth. Open up that right hip. Right leg comes out behind you, lifting that right leg to the sky. Take an inhale, and then exhale, crunch that right side body. Yeah. Crunch that right side body. We're feeling crunchy today. I know, I'm so ridiculous. But slow, controlled movements here. We're not rushing. We're staying fully present, using our breath to slow down. I don't know. This feels too easy, right? We'll say one more. Right knee, right shoulder. Release that right knee back down onto the earth. And let's take one more child's pose here. Shifting the hips back, allow the forehead to come down to the earth. And let's draw the arms behind, like alongside the body, and hands clasped maybe behind, onto your heels. Arms are heavy and the shoulders drift forward. Send the breath to the shoulders here, to the back space between your shoulder blades. See if maybe you can spread out those shoulder blades a little bit wider. Taking a cleansing breath if you'd like to take a cleansing breath. And then when you're ready, pressing into the palms, lifting up and back, coming into downward facing dog. And then let's place the block up at the top right-hand side of the mat, so it's within reach for this next sequence. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky, bend the knee, open the hip, stack the hips, draw the right heel in toward the right glute, and then just check in to see if you've shifted weight into one shoulder or the other, and see if you can even out that distribution of weight between the two arms. And then take those knee circles around the hip. Oh, that feels so good today, you guys. My glutes are so tight. So get in there. We're really working into the hip, getting those synovial fluids moving in the hip here. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, step all the way through, plant the right foot between the hands. We're going to open all the way up into warrior two, so that back foot spins flat, toes are pointing toward the left side of the mat, and then cartwheeling all the way open to warrior two. And then checking in with our alignment here, so making sure that both femur bones are plugged into our hip sockets, so kind of creating this energy of a lifting energy into the torso. Shoulders are stacked over hips, arms come out to the side, gazes out over that right middle finger, and then sinking into that right knee, and then just checking to make sure that that right knee is tractioning about midline of your foot. So energetically, you're drawing that right knee out past your right pinky toe. Yeah. Breathe here for a few moments. This should feel easy compared to all of the other stuff we were just doing. So if it feels easy, maybe sinking a little bit deeper into your warrior. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, extended side angle. So forearm comes down, rests onto that right thigh, and then really open up the torso toward the left side of your mat. Left hand can be on left hip, or it can be reaching up and up, out like an extension of your arm or overhead. And again, being mindful of the placement of that shoulder blade on your back. So if it's up and overhead, or even if it's extended out, we want to plug that shoulder, that arm bone into the shoulder socket. And then start to find that crunch. So in that last exercise that we did, we were crunching. So see if you can find that crunch in the right side body here and start to lift out. So allowing that right arm to float and come up to meet the left. We're crunching with that left side body. Yes. Beautiful. Torso's opening to the left. Breathe. Okay, now take your block. We're gonna put it into our right hand. We're gonna set the block about a foot or so in front of your right foot, and you can play around with this. We're coming into half moon pose here. So take an inhale, and then on your exhale, bend into your right knee, and then lift off of that back left leg. Yes. And so this is where you might want to play around with the placement of the block. Maybe it's a little further out, so your shoulder is resting, your wrist, shoulder is stacked over wrist. Yeah, opening the torso to the left, lifting that left leg, flexing that left foot, toes are pointed toward the left side of the mat. Arm comes up to the side, or maybe it reaches out and overhead. And then feel this long line of energy from the back left ankle all the way out, up the left leg, up the left side body, and out your left fingertips, your arm, your left fingertips. Yeah. Lift that left leg. All right, so option to stay here, or if you'd like to enjoy those little knee to elbow tap here, take an inhale, and then exhale. We're gonna crunch side body, left side body crunches. Yes. Exhale, extend it out. Inhale, crunch it together. Left side body, that's what we're focusing on. Left side body. Yeah. Let's do it again. We'll do this for a couple more rounds. Again, you have the option, you can just hold. You don't have to actually do these little crunchy taps. We're getting crunchy today. Yeah, we'll say one more time. And then exhale, step all the way back, coming back to your warrior two for just a breath. Inhale, exhale, cartwheel the hands, step back, high plank pose. I don't know if you guys are gonna like this, but let's come into tabletop. Actually, we'll do plank. We'll come into plank first. And we're gonna do these hip dips from plank. So staying strong, lifted out of the shoulders. You can do this with the knees on the earth, but lifting knees, staying strong and active, lifting out of the shoulders, draw the navel up into the spine, and then coming onto the right side, right edge of the foot, and then dipping the hip down, and then crunching the hip up, and then coming back to center. Switch sides, come onto the left, dip the hip down, crunch that left side body up, come back to center, swivel onto the right, hip down, crunch, center, twist, come onto the left, dip down, crunch that left side body. We'll do that for a couple more rounds here. I promise you guys are gonna be so fired up. Your coworkers are gonna be like, what the hell got into you today? We'll say one more round on each side. And then shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a cleansing breath, releasing any air that's currently in the lungs. Take a deep breath in, open mouth, exhale, let it go. All right, good news. We only have time for one more side. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky, bend the knee, open the hip. Check to see if you've redistributed weight between your left and your right hand. Let's see if you can balance that out. And then rotate that left knee around the left hip. Draw the left heel in toward that glute as you make those circles. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Exhale, step all the way through. And then opening up warrior two on the left. I'm gonna face you guys. Let me grab my block. Checking in with our alignment here. So making sure femur bones are plugged in. We're lifting out of the hips. Torso is open toward the right side of the mat. Shoulders stacked over hips, arms come out to the side like a T. Gaze is over your left middle finger. Sink into that left knee, checking in, making sure that left knee is tractioning about midline of that left foot. Inhale, reach the left arm up and overhead, reverse warrior. And then exhale, extended side angle. Left forearm down to left thigh, reaching that right arm up and overhead, or maybe straight out to the side. Breathe. Start to find that crunch in the left side body. Maybe reach that left arm up and overhead. Oh, you guys look so awesome. And then allow left forearm to come down to left thigh. Reach out for that block. Again, placing it maybe a foot or two out in front of that left foot. Take an inhale, bend into the left knee, and then float that back leg, reaching the right leg to the sky. Foot is flexed, lifted, strong, and powerful. And then the hand resting on your block, shoulder over wrist here. Right hand can be placed on your right thigh, can be reaching up to the sky or reaching up and overhead. Oh, hello, Steph. Hello, wall. And then if you want to take those knee to elbow taps, again, it's that crunch of the side body. Take an inhale, crunch it together. Actually, it should be an exhale. Inhale to grow long. Exhale, crunch together. Inhale, grow long. Exhale. Oh yeah, crunch it together. We'll do that a couple more times. All right, one more time. Pause in your half moon. And then on your next exhale, allow the right foot to come back down onto the earth, warrior two. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands, come down, high plank pose. Okay, option. You can do those hip swivels again from high plank pose, or we can come down onto forearms and we can do them from forearm. So allowing that right hip to come down, crunch it up, come back to center, left hip down, crunch it up, come back to center, right hip down, crunch it up. Oh, you guys got this. Teaching and doing core at the same time is like running and talking at the same time. I don't know how. I'm not like more gasping for air and out of breath. We'll stay one more round on each side. I'm struggling with you guys is my whole point. I love you guys. I know you love me. Come back to center, release the knees to the earth, sink the hips back. Take that beautiful, juicy child's pose. Allow the arms to come down along your sides, clasping your heels, forehead down to the earth. Let those shoulders be heavy. Maybe take a big sigh out of the mouth. And then come back to the breath. You guys are lucky I had another really fun side plank planned, but we're not getting there today. So from here, come back to tabletop and let's stretch out these shoulders. So from tabletop, knees stacked over wrists, we're gonna walk the hands out, maybe a foot or two, and then drop the heart down toward the earth. Still pressing into the hands, maybe letting the forearms rest onto the earth, maybe allowing the forehead to rest onto the earth. Or if it feels good in the body, in the neck, resting the chin on the earth Gaze is between your thumbs. Only if that feels good on your neck. And here, imagine the armpits dripping down and sinking into the earth here. If you feel any pinching, any tightness, lift out of the shoulders just a little bit. More isn't better, more is just more. You still get the benefits of this pose without all of those other deeper variations that I offered. And then very gently start to walk the hands back in, coming back to tabletop. And let's take thread the needle. So inhale, reach the right arm to the sky. Oh, feel that delightful stretch in the chest. Exhale, thread the right arm underneath the left, coming down onto the right shoulder. Right temple, right cheek, rest onto the earth here. And then option for your hand can stay planted next to the face. You can actually extend the left arm out long, or even take it and rest it behind the low back. And then checking in with the hips. So if the hips are kicking over to the left, see if you can draw them back in toward midline a little bit, and you'll feel a deeper sensation in that right side body. Sending breath into your right shoulder, your right arm, your right side body. And very gently start to bring that left hand back if you took any of those variations, planted in front of your face, and then lifting up, counter stretch, right arm back up to the sky. Oh yeah, feel that. Exhale, plant that right hand down, and let's switch sides. Inhale, reach the left arm to the sky. Exhale, thread it underneath the right arm, coming down onto the left shoulder, left temple, left cheek. And then option again for that right hand can stay planted in front of the face, reach out in front of you, or even wrap behind the low back. But checking in with those hips, seeing if you can draw those back in towards center if your right hip has kicked over. Just bring it back towards center. Into that left shoulder, left side body. Hey, hey. Oh my God. Oh, Bruiser's been pretty good this morning until now. He decided to go pee on my plants. If you've moved your right hand, go ahead and place it in front of your face. Lift up, reach the left arm to the sky, counter stretch. Oh, yeah, get into that chest. Exhale, plant the left hand back down to meet the right. And let's come all the way onto our backs from here. And we're gonna take an easy twist, I think. Let me check on our time. Go ahead and bend the knees, plant the feet about a foot or two in front of the glutes, tick-tock the knees from side to side. And then when the next time they fall over to the left, go ahead and allow them to rest there. Bruiser, the troublemaker. Love you too, buddy. Breathing. Keeping your arms outstretched to the sides. Sending the breath into the right side. All of that work that we did in the core, all the way into your right hip point, up into that right armpit. See if you can send your breath there. On your next inhale, bring the knees back up to center, and then exhale, slowly, gently allow them to fall over to the right. Sending the breath into the left side body. staying connected here. I'm laughing because I think that was a really crazy class. I'm sorry. I hope you guys loved every minute of it. And if you didn't, I hope tomorrow you love your body even more for the amazing shit that it just did for you today with me and all of my crazy core. Go ahead and inhale, draw the knees back into center. Let's take the knees into the chest, wrap your forearms around your shins, draw the forehead into your knees. Take a deep inhale in, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale. Let that shit go. Let your legs come down the length of the mat. Release any of your controlled Ujjayi pranayama here. Arms come down the length of the mat. We're coming into Shavasana, your final resting pose. And today I invite you to fully release and give in to the gravity and the weight of the world pulling you in. Close the eyes and enjoy these next few moments of rest. You've earned it. Shavasana.
start to come back to your mat, your body, your breath. And maybe invite some gentle movement, wiggling fingers and toes. If you would like to end class just as you are welcome to stay in this pose. If you would like to sit up and finish class with me in a seat, please feel free to roll over onto a side and gently push yourself up. I have, as per usual in our morning Metta Vinyasa, I have your 3 affirmations. Not so much affirmations today, but I don't know, maybe they are an affirmation, but I'm going to invite you to do it a little bit different than we normally do. So I'm going to read 3 statements for you, and I'm going to ask you to repeat them or say them to yourselves. But we're going to use the breath. And so we're going to be releasing energy, fears, and just things that no longer serve us. We're going to be using the breath to release them. So release any air that's currently in the lungs. Take a deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Exhale, open mouth, let it go. Cleansing breath. So I'm going to read a statement, and then you're going to take a cleansing breath. I'm going to read the statement. You can say the statement and then take your cleansing breath. And so we'll do that for each of the 3 statements. And I'm not going to say them 3 times. We'll just say them 1 time this time today. So the first statement is, with this breath, I release all energy that no longer serves me. Take a deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. I didn't give you a lot of time to say that, sorry. That's better with this one. With this breath, I release all negativity that surrounds me. Deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. With this breath, I release all fear that limits me. Deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Hands come to heart center in Anjali Mudra. It is such an honor and a privilege to sit in the seat and share with you the things that light me up about this practice, and for you to be here with me and to share in this joy and the magic and just the bliss of this practice is such an honor for me. So thank you. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. I love you.